Hello, dear celestial viewers. I'm so glad to be here with you guys today again. First of all, first things first, right? Happy International Women's Day. Yay! I love it. Thank you so much. Well, nature miracles, right? And we're one of them, right? Actually, everyone is, right? But I mean, all that we go through to get our intuitions in place and all that stuff, all the feminine cycles we have to go through to be this magical being that we are, right? Um, this I chose specifically to pull the subject of our nature and just a bit because okay, thank you. Because this is all nature, and nature sometimes feels weird, and it is on purpose. um, when I came to this, I was actually thinking how sometimes not so good things come to very good results. And remember when I said, like on Monday, I was being inspired by this force because I wanted to know the week's things, and the force came to inspire me, right? And while we were discussing it, and then in the last chat, I also stopped in the subject of throwing our energy away through enjoyment of intimacy action. And I thought of all these things that make us lose our energy, right? So when we worry, when we're in anguish, when we're in anxiety, when we're mad at something, we lose our center, right? Sometimes that brings not our best in us. But it occurred to me that while I was talking about it, it was super strong, okay? I was being inspired. I was alone in my room. Things were happening normally in my room. Everything was there, each thing in its position. And I was having this chat and looking for that inspiration. And the continuosity of that chat was like this. I was in a room and then my lamp fell. And when my lamp fell, they got talking to me like, pay attention to that. And I was like, okay, what about that? And he said it fell down while we were in the room, right? And I said, yeah, sure, that's a coincidence. Even though I do not believe in coincidences because it's my personal thing, believing that coincidences have purpose and they're like message. To me, they're like a language of the force, because synchronicity gives us signs of next steps and everything. And he was like, yes, this is a coincidence. But what is the value in the coincidence that makes the coincidence not just be a daily fact? And I was like, I see your point, because it's like this. The room is there. It has been there the whole time. Many times the window was open and the wind was getting into the room and nothing happened. But precisely when I was there, the lamp fell. I mean, it could have fallen 3 minutes before I got into the room to have my reflection moment with the force. It could have fallen one day before, 2 days before, a week before, but no, it was specifically when I was there. And he told me this is actually the power of coincidence. The fact that it happened while you were watching. Coincidences are coincidences. We cannot take off the value from that. But the meaning into the coincidence is the watcher. Because of what? Why is that? Because exactly precisely when that fact happened, you were there to watch. And this is powerful. Whatever happened to you, whatever synchronicity, it could have happened to another person. It could have happened 5 minutes before it happened to you, but it actually happened to you when you were there. And why do I say that? Why do I bring this as a miracle of nature? It's because, like this, all the events, all the sum of events, including everyone that will participate in any moment of your life, they are being summoned, invocado,
Yes.
invoked, summoned when they have to be precisely to participate in your life precisely the way they have to participate. Whatever it may be, sometimes a person coming close to you to give you an advice that was going to totally make a difference in your whole life, whatever that is, it has a specific moment to happen. So everyone that needs to go to a meeting, so 1 year from now they can be in the moment of your meeting, every little detail is precisely happening precisely, so everything for everyone flows into this flow into this very, como é que é encaixado, Lê? Matching.
In the coincidence.
Yeah, those big matches, they all need those things to go on. And then life seems very simple to us, right? Everything is very normal, everything is going on, you're just breathing, you're just eating. No, forget about that. Everything, little details are put specifically in a place where they have to be, so things will happen the way they have to happen for you. And this is for everyone. So there are no spaces for mistakes in life's happenings, okay?
And they are also part of this coincidence you were talking in the beginning. I'm sorry.
And they are part of this coincidence that I was talking in the beginning. And why is that? I will give you a small example. This is very useful, and this is very teeny tiny, but it's very, very worthy for bigger things, okay? I was in a beach city. I was with my daughter. We were having our fun time. My promise to her was that we were going to lead her to get to know a ferry for the first time, because we were leaving from São Sebastião to Ilhabela, and there is a ferry in that way. And an advice came into my mind saying, if you want to go to the ferry, you want to leave now. And I prepared everything. I was alone with my daughter, so you cannot imagine how many things I had to prepare. And this was taking time out of me, and I was getting kind of anxious, like feeling I was not going to get to take the last ferry in that day. And nice. And so I got everything put together, put into the car, and we went to the ferry entrance. When I got in there, there was this space where everybody wanting to go into the fair by walking needed to wait for in safety. And I arrived first to the next ferry, and I was with my daughter. She was agitated. I was too. I was actually also worried because she was about to sleep. We had already swum the whole day in the beach, so she was really tired, because that does happen to kids when they swim. And then the ferry arrived, and the gate was closed for the people waiting to go by walking. And then the ferry arrived. And can you believe that? Nobody came to open the gate. I was going to say a bad word, sorry. Nobody came to open the gate. I was going like beyond my mind in madness. I was like, oh my God, I came just for this. I need this. And I was like, blah, 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 blah. But this all in my mind, okay? I wasn't saying that to anyone. I was like, oh my God, how can no one come and open this gate for me? I'm just explaining. And I was like super pissed. I do get in that state. Most of all in these situations when I'm in a hurry, because hurry takes a little of me. And then nobody came and nobody opened, and the ferry went away. And I was like, can't believe that nobody had the competency to just come and open a gate. I was like this ferry. And okay, the ferry went, and I was like, okay, maybe there is another ferry. And then I asked to someone and I said, oh, can you please tell me what is the time for the last ferry? And the guy said, don't worry, now these days the ferry is 24 hours a day. And I was like, oh my God, what a relief and everything. So I kept waiting. And the thing was, when the ferry came, there were two ferries, one with the ceiling covering for rain situations, and the other with no ceiling, open to the sky, which is my favorite because I love being connected to nature. And I was there, and it came, and I had the option to choose, and I chose to the open ferry, and I went all happy with my daughter and everything. And we went to the other side, and I was not going to stay in the city. I just wanted to do this stroll with her as a come and go, as a go and come back. And I was there, she was there, she was woke, I was already in peace and everything. And then in the back, I have to say this because this totally makes part of the history. I'm a very, 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 very big fan of sunsets. I do have that in me. I love the colors, I love the natural art, and I have been following sunsets for the last 14 years. Yeah, we're in 24, so yes, 14 years. I've been crazy about sunsets. I go like 3 to 4 times a week to watch a sunset, or in my neighborhood, or in a special place that has a better view. And in that, in the back, out of nowhere, because I'm a very spoiled daughter of the forest, and I love him for that, the sunset started. And guys, this was so interesting. Okay, I was there in the morning. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna go to the beaches because I went to sleep 3 a.m. But then out of nowhere, this extra energy came to me, and no, you're gonna go, you're gonna go, you're gonna go. And then I went, and then all of this happened, and then I was in the ferry. And then we started getting back. And then the forest told me, now I'm gonna show you something, and you will know what I mean. And when we were in the ferry, the sunset started setting. Oh my God, you guys have no idea how this little simple teeny tiny thing was this very, very big message for me, because I was there, the sun was setting, and I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I cursed way too much. I'm sorry. And I was like, I know what you mean now. I mean, do you know this? He knows I love the sunset. He knew I wanted to get into a ferry. He knew my daughter was sleepy. And actually, if I had gotten into that first ferry, I wouldn't have watched the sunset from the ferry with my daughter. That got me a lot of very, very beautiful videos and pictures to testimony that moment. And when this happened, he started talking to me. Did you just see what happened? And I said, yeah, I said, yes, I saw. And he told me, do you see how mistakes are put there for a reason? And this is very big. Do you remember the story I told you about my experience in Peru with the forest coming in me? Pay attention to this. I'm in love with a repeated number. I'm in love with repeated numbers, all right? I'm a fan of 1111, 2222, because our hours in Brazil, they work in 24 hours. So we have 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14. This happens through all day long. And I'm very fan of repeated numbers. And that story from Peru, it precisely happened in August 28th of 18. So we have a set of eights in there, 3 eights. And I'm all in love with that repeated number. And starting by that, I already realized that things were happening so they could come in a way that I would super value them, because the fact that that experience took me to that place in that moment where my death ritual happened in a 3-8 numbered day, it's very special and very meaningful to me. And this also happened in the beach. So I was there and it was setting, and he was telling me every single little mistake is put into place for you to arrive in the places that you want to arrive as you want them to be. You are going to live what you want to live, because what you wish to live is what I inspire you to wish to live, and it's what I give you force and energy to go after, to live. And in that, I got myself thinking about all those coincidences and life's happenings, which is totally nature's miracles, because a conjunction of situations happening in many places, in many lives, in many countries, all being combined specifically so you can meet souls, you can meet people precisely living the same time with you that will teach you stuff. This is a nature miracle. Life happening, my friend. This is a nature miracle. I have no doubt of that. Let me get a bit of a song, because I'm very inspired by this. This song now is the first time I'm getting a song in English, and I love this guy. Aloha Ke Akua, lyrics from what is the name of that guy again? Nako Berry, yeah. And there is this, oh, this music is, wow, guys, and listen the piano version too, because the album version is more like modern, but the piano version, oh my God, I'm in love with the piano version, because I have this classic thing. Let me get to the part of the music that I want to talk about. Mm. Oh. This, in the middle of the music, he says, if you knew what you were for, if you knew what you were for and how you became so informed, bodies of info performing such miracles, I am a miracle made of particles. And in this existence, I'll stay persistent, and I'll make a difference, and I will have lived it. This is very powerful, okay? Because this is it. If you knew what you were here for and how did you become so informed of why you were here for, bodies of info performing such miracle to bring you messages, because they are particles of information coming to you on a precise time. I'm here in the same situation. I'm a package of information and data here for you to maybe inspire you, if you allow me to, right? And okay, and while I was going and all that, and started with all the coincidences, I was talking to myself about the numbers, and I knew their value, because precisely when I came up with the idea of talking about the numbers, Love and Moon Boutique's administrator came to talk to me, talking about the same subject. How is that so combined that precisely when I decided to talk about coincidences, can I call him a boss? It's not like a boss, because he's such a good person. Our relation is so respectful. He doesn't oblige me to anything. He's super lovely. And what are the chances that precisely when I came up with the subject of coincidences, he told me he wanted me to answer to him something about repeated numbers, and I was telling him, oh my God, we are so tuned that precisely when I chose to talk about coincidences and I decided to talk about repeated numbers, you come to me asking about repeated numbers. So you are in advance and we are in tune, because the same subject you want to know is the same subject I was going to talk about. So it's so us that it's like this. He talked to me, can you please tell me what is the meaning of repeated numbers? And guys, I'm in love with that subject, because you have no idea how many meaningful situations in my life were brought, being precedido. Opa, precedido parece uma palavra muito difícil. Peraí, just a bit. Translator.
Preceded.
Preceded, thank you. You don't know how many events preceded all those facts. So all those numbers were following you to reach a point. And probably, if you are not paying attention to repeated numbers, every moment of your life that was super meaningful, you probably passed through a lot of repeated numbers and you were not aware of it, or maybe were. And what is it about? These things, they are message, okay? Maybe some people tell you they're not, but calm down. They seem to be little, but they're actually very big. First of all, 11, okay? 1111. Everybody talks about the portal 1111. I'm here at 1111. My lives are starting in your country at 1111 if I'm doing the right thing. And think of 1111. This is it. This is an one and another one, and we have a double. So this would, let's suppose this is not a 2 2. Okay, this is a 1 1. Okay, you have a 1 1. And what do you have? You have in this first one, you have the first gate. This would be, think of this like a gate. Okay, this would be the space of a gate. And the second pair of ones is the second level of gate. So you have a first gate, which is the human gate, and you have a second level. Why is that? Because you're going to the second level. When you see the portal 1111, you got an access to spiritual realms. Please profit of this, okay? And what else is there? In US, you guys are very blessed because you guys are researching a lot of things in a very fast pace. So you guys have a lot of information. You guys were studying psychology way before than Brazilians. And in that thing that you guys have going on, you have a lot of information. And for example, in Brazil, if you search repeated numbers, you can find their spiritual message only until about 150 or so. But if you search for repeated numbers in English, you will find it up to like 10,000, which would mean you, if you see like 10,555, 10,555, if you look that up in Google, followed by angel message, you will see what is the message for 10,555. And what is good about those messages? Maybe you read them, go in Google. You saw a you saw 4 2s. Go in Google and press 2222 angel message. You will find a huge amount of websites telling the message. What are those messages? What are those websites? They're about people connecting with higher forces, higher influencers in the sense of spiritual guiders, and they connect with those spiritual guiders and ask them, can you, I just saw the number 2222, can you please tell me the meaning of them? And then those mediums, they open their channel to receive that message, and they put it on a website for you. Sometimes it's on YouTube or something like this too, and you can go there and you can access many of them. What is the one that is meant to be for you, the one that touches your heart? And this is very important. Why is that? Because sometimes you read those messages from the angels and they have like 4 pages. And you're reading the whole thing, and this is not touching your heart until you reach in a specific paragraph that feels like it's answering everything you wanted to know. That was the message for you. That was the message channeled for when you passed through those repeated numbers, you would be reached by that information. Also, it so happens that if you don't read that message on Google, that makes it all easier actually, you are going to start receiving in your own thoughts. You will feel that they were your idea because they're coming to your thoughts, but you are actually being inspired. So what I told to this guy, later I'll ask if I can tell you guys his name. I don't know if I can, so I'll respect his privacy for now. And if you were in his situation when you saw a repeated number, I told him, please use that number, go on Google and look for angel's message related to the number and look for what is touching your heart. And there are many levels of numbers, and all of them with super big, meaningful. All of them will be kind of according to numerology because, you know, right? People familiarized with numerology know the value of those numbers. But numerology is like this: numbers, they have meaning, they have a spiritual meaning. They're here for a reason. They're not passing in front of you just to be numbers. This is how we feel daily about them, but they actually have an energy on them. And when these guys are talking about putting in a spiritual message related to the angel of that repeated number, what they're doing is a very huge study of numerology, and it's free out there for you to read. And believe me, you will find what touches your heart, because numerology is real. Numerology is actually also advised in Bible and in many other cultures, okay? So they do have a lot of spiritual meaning. And what I told to him is this: if you are lucky enough to find a repeated number, remember to focus on what you had thought. Because first of all, the first thing, saw a repeated number, oh my God, what was he thinking? What was he thinking? Because this probably is a confirmation related to that thought. It also happens when you stumble, when you're walking and suddenly you like stumble, even if it's a small stumble, okay? The size of the stumble, the proportion of the size of the stumble is how wrong you are in an idea. So let's suppose you're thinking like this: oh, I met that girl and she was so nice to me, but I think that she didn't like me that much. And then you give a little stumble. This stumble is telling you you're wrong. That girl liked you. You're having the wrong impression. And also something like this: you were in a job and you were super valuing yourself. You were thinking that everybody else was also valuing you, and out of nowhere you get a very big stumble, and right next to that stumble you get dismissed. So sometimes when you're having this super idea and the stumble is really big to the point that you get hurt, it is trying to say to you, you are wrong. You are very big time wrong. So rethink of what you're thinking, because you judged wrong. And this is the power of the stumble. Pay attention to what you think when you give stumbles, if it's a small or it's a big one. And regarding that, also this is very important, because this one specific is trying to tell you that you are connected with the forces. So the first of all is the 1111. If you saw 1111, you are in a spiritual portal. Get talking to anyone you would like to, because they will hear you and they will get back to answer. And the 3-3, let's keep in mind the 3-3, because that is our divine situation, okay? That is our Trinity. This is our connection. This is our sky connection inside of us. So whatever hour you look at and you see the hour and the minute is in 3-3, or if you see in whatever place a 3-3 repetition, this is highly related to search for spirituality. Okay, spirituality wants you to pay attention to something. If you don't know how to find it by yourself, look for spirituality. And how do you do that? By looking for the thing that most pleases you. Pleases you. Thank you. Pleases you. Why is that? Because your path to happiness, it is super real. Let me put it this way: if happiness is real, and I do believe it is, it cannot be thought, because thoughts are thoughts. They can be created, they can be forged, right? You can come up with thoughts, but you couldn't come up with happiness. You would have to feel happiness. So if happiness is real, you cannot find it in your thoughts. You have to find it in your heart. And in that, you have to follow the path of your heart. So probably when you see a number with a 3-3 repetition, that you're being called to this reality where you are in connection with higher forces trying to guide you toward your happiness. And please remember that, as Bashar always say, if you want to find your big thing, that one thing that makes you happy, you have to follow the path of joy and happiness from what you feel. not from what society told you that it should be, right? Because society's answer will most of all times be look for money. And maybe this is not making you happy, right? So remember this, if you're having three repeated numbers coming to you, look for spirituality because it is trying to inspire you to find your own path, that path that you have been asking for. So far, I'm in the end of our meeting, our meeting. Thank you so much for joining me up to this point. Love and Moon Boutique, thank you so much again for the space you guys are giving me. I'm super very much in love with it. Thank you for all the big and super powerful women in all the world that are bringing all the changes so we don't have to be in the unpleasant positions that we were in the past. Thank you so much. Very powerful and strong women, very decided and determined to grow and to push other women to grow. I'm very, very, very thankful for your existence, whatever wherever you are, influencing other women, whoever they are. Thank you so much for your role in growing our part in society because this is beyond fair. This is actually late, right? And thank you, Love and Moon Boutique. Thank you for our partnership and the space and the trust. And thank you guys. Oh, also, that is true. If you want to find me for a personal consultation with tarot, astrology, or anything, you can look me up on Facebook as Bueno Astral, everything together, as in Spanish or Portuguese. Okay, Bueno Astral. Actually, Bueno is in Spanish, but it's my last name. That's why I chose this. And there you can find my contact so we can schedule this consultation. Okay, I will be very pleased and happy and honored to be part of your spiritual search path. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Happy Women's Day and have a very, very lovely and beautiful weekend. Okay, kisses in your hearts. Bye bye.